Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be using Meow Ya Doin' by Lawn Fawn and also Booyah. This is for Marker Monday number 6. I'm going to be using my Spectrum Noir Triblend markers. I've used them lots before. These dies, by the way, the Slimline dies are the newer ones from Newton's Nook, and that's my card base where I wiped off a smudge of ink because it's going to be covered up anyway and I had nowhere else to do it. And I'm just using the frame, and then I cut 2.5-inch squares to put behind. I didn't want the windows inside with the stitching. It was just too much stitching, and so I just chose to do 2.5-inch squares to kind of cover the back of the window. And I took some purple paper. I didn't show you some patterned purple paper. They're supposed to be little stars. I have to stare really, really hard to see the stars, but it's from the Doodlebug Design Booville 6x6 paper pad. And so this is just one of the Slimline dies with the 3 windows from one of the 2 sets from Newton's Nook. But I just received them recently. And then I ended up, I had used my tweezers to pull a cat hair out of some very pink, bright, like deep pink magenta paint, watercolor, and didn't realize I had left it on there. I was wondering where all this color was coming from after I was trying to scrape away the glue. I'll be using the Spectrum Noir Triblends to color in the cats and their costume hats. I've used them a lot. I don't really need to cover them on Marker Monday at this point, but this could be the very first video of mine that you're watching as well. So I want to keep that in mind. I have covered a review of the Triblends as well as an entire swatching video, and I used them a lot since then in several videos. But long story short, I love them, and they're great for having a 3-color blend in one marker. And yeah, it's kind of the short version. Since I've been linking the cheaper alcohol markers, I'm going to try to find these. I believe it's Crafter's Companion. I don't know, can't remember at this point. The website, I think you can buy the full set in sets of 6 markers. It's like 8 sets of 6. There are 48 markers. There are also 2 boxes of 24 markers each. I'll try to link all the options for purchasing these down below. I think you can also still buy them individually on DICK BLICK. You can buy at least one of the boxes of 24 at DICK BLICK on the website, but you could buy them individually. I've seen a few colors. I bought a couple backups of colors I use a lot at a local craft store. It just depends on if your store carries it or if they can get them in for you. You could ask them as well. Most craft stores are good about that. So I'll link some options down below that I find to purchase them. I have not looked at links in a while, so hopefully kind of buying the full set is still an option fairly easily. I'm showing you the color names, but essentially there is a dark end, and then the mid color is the middle, and then there's a light end. Sometimes, for example, on the band for this hat, when I go in to color it, because I color the buckle yellow, just one shade of yellow, but on the band for the hat, on the ice gray shades, I just go from the dark to the light and skip the mid. So on some of them you can do that, which is easier for a color blend in a really small area where you don't want to do 3. So I'm just using the dark end first and then the light end, and I just skipped opening the middle marker essentially. Then I'm going to use lavender. I probably should have used like a really light gray. I think Ice Gray Blend would have had a light gray, but I used another purple, which is fine. So my 3 cats are going to be instead of a black cat, which if I had done just a straight black cat, you probably wouldn't have been able to see the lines that kind of separate where his legs are and everything like that. So he's technically a black cat, but we're just using the ice gray shades, which is a dark gray, to blend him out. I haven't tried yet. I might do a test, not here, obviously, but using the black Copic, like the black 100. There's a special black Copic, number 110. I'm not sure what the difference is on the two. If you know, let me know down below. Sometimes when I color, you can't really see the color when it's flat, so I tried to bend that a little bit so you could see. If I were to just take the black 100 marker and color in the whole cat, if I could still see the lines, like where his chin would be and his arms and stuff, I might be able to. It's not the same as, you know, Memento ink, which is what I've used to stamp the images here. This cat is becoming a calico. I'm either hearing thunder outside or somebody dumping a lot of garbage. I hope it's thunder. My calico cats are kind of strange. And this orange is a little bright for a cat, but that's okay. It's the only orange tri-blend I have, and I wanted to stick with tri-blends. Calicos are usually a bit like more of a mix of all the colors, like my cat, but this is how I choose to color it because it's easier. And then I had just used the darkest pink on pale pink shades for their noses. So I am going to die cut. I'm just going to go over and darken that some more and then die cut these guys out, and you don't have to watch that part. I had to trim apart some dies as well. So now they are all cut out. I am going to end up, I think, messing with, maybe I grabbed the right glue. No, I did not. I grabbed the wrong one. And I'm trying not to stab myself with these pins because I've done it before. I did it in a video. It was not cute. So I'm just putting glue on their ears because I don't know. I don't want to get glue everywhere. So I'm just putting it on there and attaching their costume hat to them. And then for the witch hat on the orange cat, I'm going to end up pushing it down a little further because it just looks a little silly how high I had it. But I move it before the glue sticks too much. And then, so having them as one piece, I'm going to actually lift them up on foam, but putting them together with their hat just makes this part a lot easier. So it's just like it's like their one die cut essentially. And then I just put foam over the full length of the backside. And then I will set those aside and we will put them on later. So now I'm going to put together the card base. Just kidding. We're making the sentiment. So I'm using Happy Halloween from Booyah. They are separate sentiments because there are other options for that. So I'm just mounting them up evenly. And I cut a banner from a third purple. I just have several different colors of cardstock. I think this came from like a Michaels pack of different purples. And so I'm going to stamp that. And then I'm going to use my 1-inch punch, square punch, and flip that over and see where my sentiment is, and then come away from it a little bit and try and center it and just create that banner flag. This is the easiest way, rather than cutting with your scissors, to create a banner end. So that is what I do. So I'll set that aside, and now I'm going to put together the card base. I use lots of adhesive because I want the cardstock to stick down fully, and I am not stingy with my adhesive, which is why I have a lot of backup tape rolls for my tape runner. So I'm going to put down the darkest purple for the card base, and then our piece that we built, I will run tape runner along this as well. And then we'll center that. Then we will set up our little kitties and center them. And then after the sentiment, it just looked to, I guess I just didn't plan out the card very well. I had an idea in mind, but it was missing a lot just because it looked, I don't know, it just looked like it was missing something. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about. There's just a lot of empty space where a lot of things could be, but I didn't want to do sequins or anything like that. And I take the my white gel pen and I do the accents on the cats, and then I lost my gel pen for a second, so I had to find it. I contemplate doing white dashes around the outside on the darkest purple on the card base itself, white dashes around the outside, and I don't know, I thought that might look kind of cheesy, so I end up going a different route, and I ended up liking it, so hopefully you do too. And I'm just going to add, for this one, it's kind of hard to add like a straight accent, so I just added white accents around the whole hair and then near the lightning bolt. And I'm sitting here thinking about what it's missing, and I was going to go in with the white gel pen for dashes, but I am instead going to use the Purple Rain Nuvo glitter drops and just make dots. And so I'm starting in the corners. This makes it really easy to get even dots, just putting them in the middle and then in the middle of the middle, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to do them along the top and bottom too. So in the middle, and then at the points where the square frames are, and then in the middle again. And then that way they're even. So if you just, you know, create your left side and your right side, and then go in the middle, and then in the middle of the halves, and the middle of those halves, etc., etc. And then it was still missing something, and I didn't want to have to find like gems or sequins, and so I just went with more Nuvo glitter drops. And I was counting, because you usually want to have an odd number in a situation like this. It just ends up looking better. It's hard to explain, but it's like a rule of art or design, I don't know, that I've learned is an actual rule. And so I'm counting to make sure it's odd numbers. Usually when it's even, it just ends up, you know, not looking right. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys for Watercolor Wednesday. Bye.